Hi, everybody. I'm here with Gamiel Yafai. I am very privileged to be joined by Gamiel today. Gamiel and I first met over 20 years ago when we both worked for the same organization. And it's a real privilege to have you here. So, Gamiel, we're going to be talking about recruiter enablement, but give us a quick introduction to you and your background.
Okay, Adam, the pleasure's all mine, I promise you. So I've been a diversity and inclusion strategist for 24 years, 9 years heading up diversity practices within marketing, recruitment, advertising organizations, set up Diversity Marketplace in 2005. And we're now a team of diversity strategists, analysts, researchers, facilitators, trainers on a global scale. And again, very privileged to be doing the work that we do.
I mean, it's such an important subject, and it has been since you and I first met. You were the first person I knew that specialized in this area, and you're, if not the, certainly one of the first three people I think about when I think about this issue. And I mean, it's probably never been more important than it is today, to be perfectly honest, with the way the world's gone. But like, down at the tactical level, let's talk about recruitment, because I know that that is one of the areas you do know quite a lot about. And if I may, I'm head of recruitment in a large organization. I need to be thinking about how do I enable my recruiters in such a way that they can get their tasks accomplished really effectively, but to make sure that EDI is threaded all the way through everything they're doing. They're not going off track. I mean, this like in terms, this can be to do with talent attraction. It can be to do with the way we assess people. It can be to do with the way we onboard people. What are the things I need to be thinking about?
Well, the first thing that we need to be comfortable with, and this may sound strange, but we need to be comfortable with ourselves. So this is about being cognizant. It's about understanding or recognizing that we have our own biases, we have our own blind spots, and there is so much about people that we just don't know. So to me, that's the first thing. But also it's about recognizing the different people who, one, are already employed in our organization, but two, the ones that we want to attract. And ultimately, across everything we do, it's about the best person for the job. That's it, full stop. Best person for the job. The challenge that organizations have is they have very narrow pools that they tap into. And that is a huge challenge. Partially, and that sort of talent pool is based on the knowledge that they have at the moment. So how do we expand that knowledge? We expand that knowledge by getting to understand why it's important to recruit from diverse backgrounds. And again, whether we're talking about neurodiversity, some tech firms I work with will employ more than 50% of their staff will be neurodivergent, will be autistic, dyspraxic, dyslexic, have ADHD, but their minds are phenomenal. And again, in terms of thinking differently, these are individuals who have been challenged every single day of their lives. Again, I have a son who has autism, dyspraxia, and ADHD. He hated every single day of school, every single day. But lots of interventions, and he is now having you could say the life of Brian. He's just loving life because of things that we've changed, but also because of his employer and how his employer has adapted, to his needs and how to get the best out of him. So we need to understand people. We need to really understand what it means to be autistic, dyslexic, but we also need to understand cultures and how cultures are different and why we make decisions. For example, if we have a black male come in for an interview and they are really loud, we need to understand that they're not shouting. That's a cultural thing, but we need to understand and we need to provide training, adaptations, to accommodate these differences that people have. But you can cut across all different diversity strands. Most individuals who are different to the status quo will need some form of help and support. So we're talking about recruitment here. We could talk about retention, development, and progression. But when it just comes to recruitment, we need to be widening that channel. We need to be making sure that that channel that we're thinking about that is like that actually becomes like that.
And what's the most important element of this? Is it to do with the brand of the employer, or is it to do with the way that we do attraction, or is it to do with the way that we take applications, or is it all of those things? Because it's definitely it's like top middle of the funnel, I think, is the problem. If I'm talking like classic kind of marketing terms.
Well, we're really fortunate that over the years we've done 42 pieces of research that explores, and this is data based, so that explores the perceptions of minority groups towards employers, but also looks at the lived experience of employees in those employers. So these 42 pieces of research have been for different organizations, and there's a number of things that come out of them, but one thing that comes out of every single one is the fact that there is recognition, particularly from the lived experience, and I talk about lived experience, I talk about lived experience of the culture of those organizations. So individuals who have been minoritized, particularly gender, disability, sexual orientation, race, religion, and belief, they experience what we call shadow and hidden cultures within organizations. So you've got this explicit culture that leaders have that they believe in because they genuinely believe that they are good human beings and that they wouldn't discriminate, they wouldn't alienate anybody, they wouldn't disadvantage, not knowingly, but they do it every day without actually realizing it. And that explicit culture comes out of the fact that their annual reports are all really positive. Everything that they say on their website is really positive. Most of the things they talk about, are focused on the positive. So they don't see the experience of those minoritized groups. And that's the internal. So until you start researching and finding out those experiences, you cannot. Well, I say you cannot, you will go out externally, but we go out externally and we do that perceptions research around what do Asian women, African Caribbean centers, mosques, synagogues, temples, Asian women's projects think of potential employers in their region. And most of the time they will have an idea of the employer, the brand of the organization, what it does, but they have no idea at all about the employer brand and what they do and what they offer as an employer, or even the different types of roles that exist in that organization.
I'd like to just touch on the concept of skills-based hiring.
Yeah.
I think I'm a big believer in the concept of skills-based hiring. So you said the first thing you said was it's the right person for the job.
Absolutely.
Okay. If I'm going to if social mobility is a priority for my organization, and I'm an actuarial firm, and I go to zone 3 to aim to hire trainee actuaries, there's nobody there, or hire actuaries. There's nobody much there whose job title has been actuary in the past, or who knows what an actuary is.
Yeah, I do, luckily.
Yeah. So, but I'm thinking if I completely change the way that I think about actually what are the skills that I need for these jobs, that's going to be a big benefit for diversity and inclusion in my organization. What do you think?
I think we are way behind where we should be in terms of breaking jobs down. So the role of an actuary, includes everything to do with statistics and data and everything else. So if you looked at that role from the perspective of tasks, and you divided, you split it into 3, for example, those things that you have to have, those things that you need to have, and then those things that you hate doing, because even actuaries hate doing a proportion of their work. Wouldn't it be great if we divided that job into 3 different jobs, gave the actuary 3 times more of the work that they love doing, so that they're going to be so much more motivated, they're going to enjoy their job so much more, and then look at the other 2 portions for other individuals, because I guarantee that 1/3 of that role you will not need that actuarial qualification to do. So then this is where organizations have failed, because those are the things that we really genuinely need to be looking at. We need to be really focusing on what those roles are, who can be doing what, and how can we maximize on the talent, the actuarial talent. Because if we gave them 3 times that level 1 role, they're going to absolutely love their role even more than they do at the moment. And this is about, it really is about, carving up jobs and creating roles, and then ensuring that there is a development program in place to move individuals through those 3 different levels.
And I think we're living in a time now when there's never been a better opportunity to do this, because there are so many jobs, traditional jobs, that, to be honest, they're probably not going to exist in the near future. And there's so many new jobs that are getting created that nobody has ever done before. So why not look at the skills that are needed for that job, break it down into tasks, and open it up to a much, much broader cross-section of potential applicants. I think that we've got a big opportunity here to do a lot in this area.
Honestly, I mean, I've been talking about this for 10 years, and and nobody, and again, somebody, but as I was mentioning earlier, one of my clients, the Victoria and Albert Museum, have just done a program, introduced a program that I've been talking about for 23 years, but nobody's taken it up until 23 years it's taken me to get one client to introduce a program that will change the whole way that they embed diversity, equity, and inclusion into their organization. So we just need some brave organizations. So if there are any brave organizations out there, come and talk to us.
Love this conversation, Gamiel. It was really great to catch up with you. Thank you very much for your time. See you again soon.
Thank you, Adam.